How you doing today, folks? Today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about, why should you hire a landscape designer? If you're sitting watching this video going, why should I hire a landscape designer? I'd like to go over some of the reasons with you today. And the first caveat I just want to say is, all landscape designers aren't the same. We all have different levels of experience, education, and just the way we do things, the way we design. So just like with plumbers and mechanics, you really do have to kind of talk to some of them and get to know them, to find the one that truly is going to be the best fit for you. The first reason you should hire a landscape designer is if you just, don't know what you want, and that's pretty obvious. A landscape designer can certainly help you out. Another time you're going to want to hire a landscape designer is if you do know something about gardening and plants, but you have a limited knowledge. The nice thing with a landscape designer, a good one, is it's almost like doing a Google search for landscape design ideas, but as opposed to Google search, which is going to give you landscape design ideas for the entire world, you can get some design ideas right on the spot for your specific property, for that specific part of the yard you're looking at. And I think that's something that really stood out today when I was talking to clients, is when it's going well, it's such a collaborative effort where my client will say, well, what tree would you recommend here? Or what material do you recommend for the walkway? And you can kind of bounce things back and forth. Maybe you're not a gardener or somebody who's done design before, but you do have some kind of idea of what you want, whether you want it to be a full landscape, a colorful landscape, a low maintenance landscape. You can talk to a designer and we can help to give you, exactly what you want. You can bounce ideas off the designer. Well, I was thinking of doing this, and then the designer can tell you why they think it's either a good or a bad idea. If you've got the right designer, hopefully it doesn't come across as arrogant or pig-headed the way they explain why it may or may not be a good idea. I don't know, I always feel bad talking to customers saying, I don't think that's a good idea. But I always follow, I don't think that's a good idea with because, so there's some kind of explanation, as well. I want to talk a little bit about how the design process works for me. And when I'm doing a design for my clients, what I'll do is I'll have, my client's needs, and then we'll have the finished design, okay? So we got the client's needs and the finished design. And what I consider myself is to be an intermediary between the needs and the design. It's almost like a filter. And I see the client's needs just as big as the finished landscape design. Because if we're not designing the landscape for my client's needs and wants, then it's just kind of silly to be doing the design at all. And I think there's a lot of designers out there who just see the landscape designer and the finished design, and the client's needs are somewhere off in the distance. But I think it's so important to get to know your clients and what they're looking to do with the project, even if they don't know specifically what they want to do, because that's the way you're really going to give a client or give you the landscape you want. And now I'd like to just give you a couple examples of the two meetings I had today. This morning I met a fella who had a new construction in a pretty open neighborhood, and he was just looking for a nice landscape that would make his house, look nice. So this fella didn't know a lot about gardening, but he saw some of my videos on YouTube. He gave me a call and we met and discussed it. And today I went back and I had a nice black and white drawing, and I had pictures of the plants, color pictures of the plants on the design. We talked about it, and we're going to go ahead and now install the design. And he respected the fact that I knew the plants that were going to give him a lot of interest, a lot of color, make his house look the best. And even during this meeting, it was nice because the fella had like a dead tree in the yard, and he was asking me what I'd recommend to replace it, and we're actually going to go ahead and replace that tree as well. So that's a good situation where, hiring a landscape designer truly does become a collaborative effort. And then this afternoon, I had some clients who actually lived in an older home, and that was almost like a complete reverse situation. When I met with this client, they actually knew what they wanted. And they said, John, this is what we're looking to do, but we need some help. So I went to the property, talked to them for a while about what they wanted, came back to measure the property, and as I was measuring, a different idea kind of came to mind. So I returned today with two different ideas, you know, concept plans we call them, where you don't go to super detail, but you just kind of outline, you know, what your thoughts are. And after talking for a while, even though this is what they told me they wanted, it looks like now we're going to be heading in a bit of a different direction. And as we were heading in that different direction, it really was a collaborative effort, because we laid some strings out on the ground to get a feel for where the landscape elements were going to be. And, you know, we were all moving the strings. It wasn't just me. And I thought that was really, it was really a wonderful thing to be out. And it's just so much easier to design a landscape with your clients at the same time, because, you know, you're all working together, and it's not like go back to the office, draft something, then redraft it. You can all see it together. Thanks for watching today, folks. Have a wonderful day.